When you hear the word chocolate cake, what do you think of? You probably start to feel really good inside, right? And your stomach might start to grumble, and then you start to salivate, and you have all these thoughts that pop into your head, like you're daydreaming, like you're thinking of cake and frosting and cookies and all kinds of sugar. Am I right? If you're trying to live a healthy lifestyle, chocolate cake doesn't fit into that anymore. So then what? That's what I'm here for today. My name is Madeline, and I'm in the Body Balance Nutrition Kitchen, and I'm going to show you how to make the most incredible triple chocolate cream cake. That's right, chocolate cake for you, all the healthy people out there. This cake doesn't have any sugar, any dairy, no gluten, no grains, no processed foods, no bad fats. And you're probably going, that's impossible, what's even in it? So that's what I'm going to show you. Let's get started right away. And there's 3 layers to the cake. We're starting with the bottom layer, the first layer of the cake today, and we'll be using our Vitamix for 2 of the layers. First off, we'll put 1 cup of chopped pecans and ½ a cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. There's a lot of cocoa powder in this recipe. And then we're using 4 medjool dates. So I'll show you, this is one date that I haven't cut the pit out from yet, but the other dates you want to make sure you do cut the pits out. But this is what it looks like if you've never worked with dates before. And then I've already cut out the pits, so I'm putting 4 of those dates into my Vitamix. They're very sticky and very gummy. They'll help to create that tacky and thick texture of the bottom layer. And then we'll be using 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. We'll be using vanilla and mint extract and some flavors in here today, and you have the freedom to use any flavors that you like almond extract, or you could put a little bit of lemon or orange in instead, but just an example, we'll use vanilla and mint later on. So that's everything for the first layer, and we'll blend it all up in the Vitamix. And there we go. Next step is to put this bottom layer into the pan, and we'll be using a spring-form pan today, and you can see there's a little clamp on the side. The bottom of the pan comes out so that once the cake is done, it's really easy to take it out and nothing gets stuck. You know how sometimes when you're making food, everything gets stuck to the pan? That doesn't happen with this spring-form pan. And I've got my big metal spoon, because this bottom layer is very, very tacky and very thick and gummy, so it takes some effort to get it out of the Vitamix and into your pan. And you can see how thick this is. Do you see that? So I'll be using my hands to press this bottom layer into the pan. And what I'm noticing is that it's nice and warm. It's actually like almost hot from all that force of the Vitamix. So you know it really took a lot of effort in there in the Vitamix to blend it up smooth. And if you don't have a Vitamix, it probably won't work in your regular kind of conventional blender, but it does work in a food processor. It's not absolutely 100% ideal in the food processor. It's a little bit less smooth, but it's really no big deal. So the Vitamix or the food processor work great. And now I've got my bottom layer, and it's all patted in nice and smooth. Then we move right on to the middle layer. This layer is quite a bit more complex. First ingredients, 2 cups of raw unsalted cashews. And then we've got ½ a cup of coconut oil. And it's okay if your coconut oil is either liquid or firm. The Vitamix will take care of that for you. One cup of water. And then we've got our stevia. We're using the liquid New Stevia. That's a brand, New Stevia. I like this brand the best because it doesn't have any kind of icky aftertaste or bad flavors in there. And today we'll use about 3/4 of a teaspoon of the stevia, but some people like to use a whole teaspoon for just a little bit extra sweetness. So between 3/4 of a teaspoon and 1 teaspoon. And then we've got our cocoa powder. We'll be using 3/4 of a cup of the cocoa powder. And more vanilla extract, or whatever extracts you like. That's going to be about 2 teaspoons in this layer. This layer is a lot bigger, a lot thicker than the bottom layer that we made. And then just because I like mint, we're using 3/4 of a teaspoon of mint extract. And that's everything. Here we go, back into the Vitamix, and we'll blend it all up. Oh, it smells really good. It smells like chocolate. The whole room is starting to smell like kind of like brownies or like a bakery. And I'll just be laying that right over the bottom layer using a flexible, bendy spatula here. The metal spoon is better for the bottom layer. This flexible spatula works better for the middle layer. And the next step is to smooth it out in the pan, because we want it to reach every edge, fill the entire pan smoothly. And I'm just kind of using my spatula to push it around to the different sides there. Don't you just want to taste it now? And the nice thing is that you can. There's not going to be any salmonella, no raw eggs or anything like that in there. Maybe I'll just save this spatula for later. All right, now you could just leave the cake like this, but here's a little expert tip. Shake it, kind of push it around to get all the air bubbles out and all of those last little lumps and bumps, and then here's what else. Bang it kind of up and down, like just kind of 1 or 2, maybe 3 times. So now it's very smooth, it's thick, there are no air pockets in there, hopefully. As we move on to the top layer, I'll set this aside. That can just wait right there. Over here, I have melted coconut oil. So you can see it's already melted in the pan. I did that before. And that's about 1/3 of a cup of the coconut oil. Then we'll be adding 6 tablespoons of cocoa powder, unsweetened cocoa powder. Pour that right in. And then more stevia for us today. Let's go for about 1/2 teaspoon of stevia. This is a very thin layer, so we don't need a whole lot of sweetness in there. And then 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. And then we'll just mix that all together. It's very simple. You want to make sure all of those little lumps and chunks of chocolate are mixed in smooth. And you can see it's all mixed up together. And I'll just pour it right on top of the middle layer. And this layer is so liquidy that it just spreads out by itself. You can see it's completely flat and even, and it'll make the top of your cake look very precise. Now, you could be just done right there, put it in the freezer, and you're good to go. But if you're a person like me who likes that extra crunch, some extra textures in there, then here's the trick. Add a few cacao nibs. These are unsweetened cacao nibs. It's unprocessed cocoa. And I'm just taking like about a handful, maybe we'll do 2 handfuls. Sprinkle those on. Yeah, I think we need 2 handfuls there. And this also makes it very dark chocolatey. So if you like that kind of bitter chocolate flavor, this is gonna do the trick for you. You could also use unsweetened cocoa flakes or coconut flakes, or maybe some chia seeds, anything like that to add a little extra crunch. And then the next step, we just put it right into the freezer. And your triple chocolate cream cake will stay in the freezer for about 6 hours or longer. I'm going to leave mine overnight just to make sure it's really, really, really firm. And in the morning, we'll take it out and you can see it. Okay, we'll see you in the morning. And we're back and we're ready to cut the cake. So I've taken it out of the freezer. Now I'll just unlatch the side, take that off, set that over here, and you can see how beautiful it is. You can see there are those 3 layers in there. Now I'll warn you, if you just take this straight out of the freezer and start trying to cut it, it's very, very firm. It's extremely hard to cut. I've left mine sitting out for about 15 minutes or so. If you leave it out too long, like 30 minutes, then it'll start melting. But take it out 10 or 15 minutes before you plan to eat it, and that's gonna make it a lot easier to cut, just like what you can see here. First slice is always the hardest to cut. There it is, it came out perfect. So there's our first slice of triple chocolate cream cake. And just remember, this cake is full of ingredients that promote health and vitality in your body. So it's not just one of those gluten-free foods that's going to leave you feeling high and dry. This is actually something I would recommend for you to go out and make it and eat it to promote the health in your body. It's got those great fats, it's got really high quality ingredients, and it's something that's going to leave you feeling so good. And I'm Madeline. Remember to visit our blog at mybodybalancenutrition.com to see more videos and more recipes like this. Thanks so much. We'll see you next time.